Alright guys, so we actually have some potential breaking news here, or like it's gonna be pretty important if this is going to be true, because the NA version of the game has dropped a countdown to Lostbelt number 6. Now this is no surprise, this in and of itself isn't anything like super earth-shattering, but here's the part that might be a little bit insane. It ends in March, very late March, which could mean we do see a Lostbelt 6 release way earlier than we thought. We all kind of thought that the Lostbelt 6 would release around sometime in June, and then we'd get like anniversary in July, like they'd kind of like bleed into each other. And so that's why it's kind of like, dude, those are like two absolutely massive celebrations that kind of go back to back, because you get all of these insanely hyped servants from Lostbelt 6 being split up into like 3 different parts basically. And then you also get Koyanskaya with the anniversary, and it just makes it a lot. But with this potential early release of Lostbelt 6, I don't know, some people are probably going to be a little bit more happy, myself included, that, dude, Morgan's coming out, and, I'm absolutely super stoked for her to come out, but it also might catch some people off guard, and some people might be a little bit upset, because again, thinking that you had like an extra 3 to 4 months, if they were really going to push it back, to actually save up for all of these different servants, getting cut down to, maybe like a month and a half-ish, right? Could be a little bit unsettling for some people. Now, this is not confirmed. It's just that we have a countdown to Lostbelt number 6, right? Like, and it's saying, like, they're celebrating the release of this, right? Like, it's very, like, the way it's worded makes it sound like we're gonna get Lostbelt 6 after this, right? Because why would they say we're gonna be celebrating the release of Lostbelt 6, basically, and then it's going to end right here, if they weren't going to release it early, right? Because it just sounds weird if they're going to say, hey, Lostbelt 6 is something we're getting ready to celebrate. This campaign celebrating its release ends, on the 22nd of March, but we're not actually going to release it until June. Like, it seems very likely that we're going to see Avalon the Fae, Lostbelt 6. It seems like we're going to see this actually drop next month, like late next month. I mean, that seems very, very likely to me. And so that probably means some people are going to need to shift around their priorities for summoning. Now, some people are still probably going to go for like Karen, or if you were planning on going for Romulus Lancer, he's going to be coming out in a couple of days, because they also announced for whatever reason that the Grail Front isn't coming out, like, right after the Little Big Tengu event like it did over on JP. Like, literally on JP, it was out like 3 hours afterwards. For some reason, there's a couple day delay between this coming out and Little Big Tengu ending. I literally could not tell you why, unless it's like them just trying to stay consistent with like their schedule, because for us, we tend to get something on like Mondays/Tuesdays, right around reset on the NA version, and then for JP it's about Wednesday at reset for us. So I don't know, maybe they're just trying to really keep it consistent with their schedule. Maybe that's what they're doing, that's why they're pushing that one back. But yeah, we're gonna be seeing the release of a lot of these servants potentially very early, and if you think this is something that it's like, okay, well, they're coming out early, but maybe I can kind of like skimp out on them, I don't know. These are some very, very top tier, very powerful servants. I mean, Morgan, for like lack of a better term, is pretty much going to be like the premium buster farming lady, because she's a berserker. She's got really good damage mods. She has the 50% battery, which is what Koyanskaya wants, right? She really wants to work with 50% battery people specifically. That's kind of like how you do the quote unquote like most optimal setups, right? Although, I guess you could say that she technically doesn't have a 50% battery. She has 2 skills that function as a battery, but you'll still get these both off cooldown, right? It's like any skill that can like basically get you to 50% on a 6-turn cooldown can be like, reset with Koyanskaya, right? Like, that's kind of how it works. So, she's gonna come out, she's gonna be like premium buster farming lady, right? Like, so she's really insane. Bargus and Balabon Sith I don't think make like as big of an impact, but Bargus is a really fun like survival, like kind of like Saber Herc, if you want to look at it that way, type of servant, where like they're really good in like long fights, and they can kind of like stack up and get really, really strong. So while I don't think they like shake up the meta or anything, they're still very strong. Balabon Sith is like a control DPS servant, right? Very similar to like, say, Ryder Murasaki, right? Like, she can be really good in CQs and like kind of debuffing and controlling what the enemy can do, which is really good. And then we also know that halfway through with like Lostbelt 7.2 technically, like the second part when it releases, you know, we'll get Melusine and Percival. And Melusine's insane. If you've been living under a rock and you don't know, this is like one of the best, if not like the best single target art servant in the game. She literally stacks NP gain, but can also turn into an AoE buster servant with a 100% battery. Now, granted, she can only do the 100% battery once, but it's still really good that she can flip that switch, and it kind of makes her like a baby Arcoid before Arcoid comes out, right? So she's really insane, and then Percival is just like standard.jpg, really good servant. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you guys think that the way that this is worded, it does mean that we're going to be getting Avalon Lefay a little bit early? Or do you think that it's just going to be one of those weird FGO things where they kind of like announce the countdown, but then it's still a little bit before we actually get the thing releasing? Because if I remember correctly, something similar happened to the countdown for Lostbelt 7. Like, they were counting down for a while, and then we finally got to 7 or something along those lines, and then it was still delayed by like a month or so. It was something odd like that. Like, it didn't release right after. So I don't know, maybe we can cope and say that's not going to be that soon, but I don't know. I'm a little bit torn myself because I really want to summon for Morgan. I've been telling everybody that I really want to try to like NP5 this servant. It's one of the first servants that I really wanted to actually go that hard for, because I think she's really good, and it's Morgan. Like, who doesn't love Morgan? So I don't know. I'm a little torn because I'm like, that means like I'm going to really have to go really hard on that banner earlier than I expected. So I don't know about all that. But then again, I also think, how is this going to interact with some of the other events, right? Because we had things like Nero Fest was released in the middle of like Lostbelt kind of releasing, because Lostbelt 6 was so long that they had to split it up into 3 parts, and so they kind of like threw a lotto in the middle, which I really liked, because it was like, well, if we're going to give you some filler content, here's a lotto. Everybody loves lottos. You're leveling up all these different servants. Here's all this material that you might need. So I don't know if that's still going to be shifted around here. They're just going to randomly throw that near anniversary. That could still work, I guess, but yeah, I don't know. Like, are we going to have Oberon in the game before Koyenskaya? Because that's also a little bit weird, because Oberon, he's still good on his own, right? He'll still be really strong, but it's kind of like, he's kind of like an addition to what Koyenskaya is doing. Like, Koyenskaya is the premier Buster support lady, and then Oberon is what makes Buster looping so OP, because you can just brute force your way through any node. So there's a lot of like really strange things that are kind of in there, right? Because we were targeting it towards like that June-July period, because that's when we thought we were going to be getting anniversary, and these are kind of, you know, coinciding. They're going to be very close. So I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you think this wording means we're going to be getting Lostbelt 6 early, or do you think it's just like some filler event they're throwing in there? I don't know. I'm definitely leaning more towards we're going to be getting it early, like late March. But you guys can let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Personally, I'm not really looking forward to having to dip into the, you know, the old wallet coon, you know, to pull out the Morgan funds. I'm not exactly looking forward to that, but, you know, if I can at least walk away with one, you know, like, even if it's really bad, if I could just walk away with one, I think I'll be happy. But yeah, I think it also pulls into question, like, the whole Morgan summoning strategy guide. Like, is she still going to come back, like, right after the Lostbelt ends? I imagine she would still come back, but who knows? Like, we might be seeing a huge shift in, like, the NA schedule, so I don't know. We'll see. Definitely a very exciting time to be over here on the NA version of the game, I suppose.